Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the channel. Today we are going to go over my Iaido meditation and warm-up. I am coming back from a few months off of training, and I only had about maybe a month or two of proper training before this. So I'm pretty rusty, and you'll see in this first part before it cuts, after the warm-up and stuff, that I'm just trying to remember like the proper etiquette. Even when I was getting dressed beforehand, I had to remember how to tie the obi correctly. You'll also see at some point me struggle to, actually coming up, you'll see me struggle to put the katana on correctly because I couldn't remember which belt loop it goes into on the obi and then the hakama. All in all though, it was good. And then I ended up deciding to review and go through the 12 Seitei Iaido Katas. Hopefully I'm saying that right. And yeah, it was good. Right now I'm just entering the dojo. That is the traditional way you are supposed to bow in and everything. Since I'm practicing on my own, I still want to try to keep and honor the traditions of Iaido. So just sit back and enjoy. This first part's just a warm-up. If you have equipment and you're looking at this for critique or educational purposes, you're welcome to follow along and use it as a way to get your own methods in. Personally, I like Iaido because it is very meditative for me, hence the name of my channel. Having Bushido in the title, I really like the philosophy of the samurai and try to sort of live within that kind of mindset. So here I was finding my center line, and then I'm doing a drill. I am super rusty. I immediately just did not feel right doing this. But I got the drill from a YouTuber named Kaz Kobayashi. I'll link all of my resources, how I started learning, training, even how I learned how to get the hakama and obi and everything tied together and properly formed. I'll link all that, and then also where I buy my equipment from. Not sponsored by anyone or anything, but here I am practicing. I'm trying to think of what the technical name is for it. It's the way that they walk so that their weight is always on both feet. That way at any moment they're able to draw their swords and enter combat. Just part of my warm-up. It takes a decent amount of balance to actually do this properly. Way more than it looks, that's for sure. Hey, it's Editor Patrick here. It's referred to as the sliding step or the suraishi. Not sure on the pronunciation. I'll try to find a YouTube video that I used to even discover this technique. That way they can talk about it in greater detail. And there I decided to draw my sword because I felt pretty warmed up at that point in terms of the actual performing Iaido. And so I decided I wanted to get some warm-ups with the actual blade out. I didn't have it planned when I was going to draw, just sort of when I felt it was right. Usually I'll do a little bit more footwork drills before that, but I was eager to get back into practicing. You'll also notice every single time I swing my sword, I turn it to the side and then up. Traditionally, a lot of the cuts, you will just bring it straight over your head first. But because I'm so tall and I tend to hit the roof, I have learned that if I just bring it over and do that block technique and then bring it above my head, I can swing down with the proper form. And here again, this is another drill that I learned from Kaz. It's a pretty good one. This sword's very light, so it's not so good. And here I'm doing some kesagiri. But I have some heavier shinai that I like to do this drill with, and it's much better practice. And I'm sure if you had a real blade too, it would be good. A big part of why I like Iaido is because it requires a lot of patience. Typically in most of the other martial arts I perform and other activities, they don't really require this much patience. A big part of Iaido though, and I guess a lot of just Kenjutsu in general, is that sort of waiting period to engage. And I find that pretty interesting because it helps me to sort of center myself, as I tend to be a pretty hyperactive person. And now we're just going to do some stretching. Again, you're welcome to follow along with this if you wish. Today I ended up doing a lot of later stretching. I tend to be a little bit more involved, but I was worried that the video was going to run on too long, so I just do some pretty basic mobility stretching to get myself warmed up so I'm not going to injure myself. Because after this I also was going into some weightlifting stuff. That's not going to be in the video, but I needed to get a bunch of working out done in one day basically because I was behind for the week. And I really wanted to do Iaido. For now, I'll just sit back and you guys can enjoy me stretching. And again, you're welcome to join in if you feel like you need to stretch out. And for anyone watching this in the future, just let me know if you would like me to go through my stretching routines. I'm a big proponent of stretching as someone who suffers from a very tight body often. So if anyone is interested, I'd be more than happy to go through like a whole stretching routine, or like my full, if I was going to stretch out in an intense manner, like the full stretching routine that I would go through. So if that interests you, just leave a comment down below and let me know. Today I didn't really do it a whole lot, but as you can see, the sword is laying at the end of the yoga mat. In the past, what I would like to do is to sort of incorporate the sword in the stretching routine, because you're supposed to be one with your sword. So there was, when I would do those lunges and then bring my knee down to the ground and lean over, I would try to use the sword as sort of the jumping off point and get past the sword with my knee. I don't know if that's proper etiquette or disrespectful, but I liked the idea of trying to be one with your sword, and so using it during the yoga portion of this. If there's anyone watching who's a Iaido practitioner and knows more about the culture, please let me know if that's considered disrespectful or anything. I would love to learn more about the proper etiquette. And now I'm just centering myself before I begin. I'm also trying to remember as much of the kata as I can, because since it's been so long, I didn't want to review right away. I wanted to make sure I could remember some of the things and see how far I could get along with the kata. So currently I'm just doing some meditation and reflection and trying to remember the steps and here I go with kata 1. I will put a link, or I guess a list of the 12 katas. I do not remember the names off the top of my head, as I have not been practicing traditionally. And here, I believe I forget to switch my feet. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to have my left foot forward when I do this at the end. And after each kata, you need to move back to position. It's very precise, and I definitely need more practice making sure I can get into the correct position. Here I forget that the second kata, I even scratch my head, you start backwards, and it's essentially the same as the first, except you have to rotate your body at the beginning when you unsheath. It's hard to tell if it's an angle thing or not, but with that first horizontal slash, I believe I'm going much too far out with the slash. It needs to be a little bit more in front of your body from what I understand. You're essentially trying to slash at their temple with that first slash. Now the third kata here, I actually really like this one, but I'm not the greatest at it. Even when you see after I review, I do not do it correctly. In fact, I actually think I forgot how to do the, what's the word? I can't remember the word for wiping the blood off the blade. I forgot. It has a unique one for that, which is part of the reason I like it so much. But the second time, I kind of mess up my footwork midway, when you'll see later. That time, I actually did the footwork correctly, and then I just forgot the final steps. And this fourth kata here, this sitting position, was super uncomfortable for me the first few times I learned it. And then when I do it here, the things I did wrong is I did not open my hip, my rear hip, when I do the stabbing motion. And then also I came forward on the second cut. You're not supposed to, because your opponent is much closer to you on this one, from what I understand. So the idea is that you stab the person behind you after stunning the other person with the butt of your blade, and then you cut them in the head at the end. But they're pretty close to you, so you wouldn't, I mean, if you could hit them with the butt of your blade, you wouldn't need to come forward to do the overhead slash. And now I'm going to heavily butcher these standing katas, so forgive me in advance. I do review afterwards, and I do much better the second time. But this is supposed to be the fifth kata. I think I end up doing a variation on the sixth kata, though. You can see me looking around because I'm trying to recall the correct technique and how to end it. When I started learning Iaido, the thing I found the most fascinating is how specific everything is. It's very, very particular on how you perform each move. There, that was supposed to be the fifth kata, and I think I added an extra move. I'm still pretty rusty right now, so it's hard for me to actually remember. Even once I do the 1 through 12 after the review period, I still didn't quite fully remember everything. So if I say something that's incorrect, correct me, but I will post the resource that I use to follow and learn these in the description. So my notes are there, basically. And at this point, I've completely forgotten what the next kata is, which is why I'm standing here for such a long time. I'm trying to remember it, but I cannot remember. I almost get it, though. This is the 8th or 9th kata, I believe, that I'm attempting to do, but I don't quite get the footwork here, and my hands are much too high for this thrust. And I know I'm wrong, because it feels wrong, and this is where I'm pretty much like, okay, I need to review. And here I'm doing this wiping the blood. I need to remember what that move is called, the technical term for wiping the blood off of your sword. That was what you were supposed to do for the 3rd kata. Okay, and now we're going to cut. And this is after I've reviewed. So this is the 1st kata with much better technique and footwork. I still am much too far over on that initial cut, I believe. But that one looked pretty good from my understanding. And then here you see I shift my feet. I did not do that the first time. I also moved the yoga mat because I was trying to use it as a marker. It ended up not really being super helpful on the sitting ones, so I just ended up doing it on the floor. And I almost forgot to turn again. Still much too far over. Hi, Editor Patrick again. Right here, this technique, it's called chiburi. That is the symbolic method of wiping the blood from the blade. But I'm trying to be a lot more deliberate with every move. That's another thing with Iaido, is that you don't have to do everything super fast. You want to be precise over being fast. And that was pretty good. I think I needed to step further, though, with my right leg. What I mean to say is that my stance is too narrow, I believe. But I could be wrong. And with this one, I'm actually pretty proud of the execution here. Although I do need to open my head more next time. And I believe with those cuts, I'm bringing the blade down too low, but I'd have to review to be sure. Another big thing about Iaido, you can't really tell because it's quite zoomed out here. Maybe I'll try to format the camera better next time. I just wanted to make sure I had enough space to show everything without having to move the camera constantly. But a big thing with Iaido is that once you're performing the katas, you don't ever want to take your eyes off of where your opponent is supposed to be. There's the 5th kata. It's a cut upward as you're unsheathing and then a cut over. And now I believe I'm trying to remember, yeah, that. Because I knew it wasn't the normal one. A big thing with that is where you put your suba to your face is very particular. I believe someone that I was watching said to basically smell the suba when you do it. It might have been Let's Ask Shogo, another channel that I'll link below, who was talking about how you need to have the suba so close to your face. With this kata, I believe there was something I did wrong. It was either the wiping the blood off the blade portion, or one of my pivots wasn't quite correct. I haven't reviewed since this, so I'm not super sure what is incorrect, but I'm pretty sure with that 6th kata I did not perform it correctly. And there I go, not stepping quite enough, I believe. Yeah, there, that step was a bit better. You don't want your feet to be too wide for most kenjutsus from what I understand, but you do still need to get some leverage and force when you step. I believe the rest of that was quite good though. Again, I'm a beginner, so my standards for good are quite low currently. Much better that time. I still think I brought this sword up a little too high, and on the first cut I swung a little too far in. And again, I might have done the blood wiping off incorrectly. So many of them are just a flick. The ones that are unique can be kind of hard to remember, from at least my experience. Yeah, this one I I had forgotten that it's another handle attack at the beginning and then a thrust. And then here I couldn't quite remember if I pivoted my feet, so I just assumed that my lead foot should be where it was. It's important too, in case you're unaware, when you're sheathing the sword, as I was saying before, you don't want to ever look away from where your opponents should be, in case there's more people coming. It's part of the focus of Iaido. And one of the harder parts of learning Iaido, and yes, here I think I started the Kesagiris on the wrong side to begin with, and so I was just on the wrong side, and I'm not sure which side to start, because I believe I try this again to make it a little bit more smooth, and I still end up doing the Kesagiri on the wrong side to start. I do like that kata a lot though. But I believe I need to do the Kesagiri on the scabbard side, so on my left side first, left to right, and then I will be in the correct position to naturally flow. I do find the 12th kata quite interesting, as it is such a simple kata compared to the ones that come before it. But it seems like it's one of the more important ones, because it is all about that overhead cut. Alright, and that concludes the 12 katas. I'm trying to do them from memory after just a short review of them. I went through all of them while watching the video back over and over again, just to try to get them down, and then this was all just from memory, because there's no point in learning a martial art if you have to look at the review every single time. Hopefully you enjoyed that and found it educational or interesting. I think everyone should look into practicing some kind of a meditative art form. It's pretty helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did and you want to see more. And comment down below if you have any insights or what you want to see from this channel going forward. All right, thanks guys.